think life's supposed to be fair? You think the world owes you comfort? Let me break it to you. Nobody's coming to save you. The universe rewards savages. The weak get trampled, the strong get tested. So either become the storm or get drowned by it. You don't need motivation, you need a mirror. Look at yourself and ask, if I died tomorrow, would I be proud of how I live today? If the answer's no, then you've got no time to waste. Comfort is the enemy. Hesitation is poison. Discipline is the cure. The strongest men in history weren't born strong. They made themselves unbreakable through hell. You want greatness? Then stop whining, stop waiting, and start moving like your life depends on it. Because it does. Become the man they fear. Become the name they remember. Or stay silent, stay soft, and disappear like the millions who never had the balls to chase what was theirs. You've been lied to your entire life. Lied to by soft men, weak institutions, and a world that keeps telling you things are going to work out. They're not. Not unless you make them. Not unless you stand up and grab this miserable existence by the throat and choke it into submission. Nobody's coming. Not your friends, not your parents, not God himself. Unless you prove you're worthy of divine attention. People walk around with their heads down whining about circumstances they've created with years of excuses. They hide behind pity, behind trauma, behind their past, as if that grants them a free pass. Let me ask you something. Do you really think the universe hands out greatness for free? You think winners were born in palaces and pampered into power? Most kings were built in the fire, beaten down, broken, betrayed, then reborn through relentless will. If your life is hard right now, that's the sign. That's the blessing. That's the whisper from reality telling you it's time to evolve. I've sat alone in silence in cold rooms, hearing my own stomach remind me I hadn't eaten for a day and a half. I've stared into the mirror and asked myself, is this it? Is this the man you've become? No money, no handouts, no way out, just me, my fists, and my thoughts. And that moment right there, that moment of truth where most men fold and pray for help, I laughed. Because I understood something the weak never will. Adversity is the audition for greatness. You either break or you become unbreakable. You either panic or you become precise. I didn't need a crowd to believe in me. I didn't need applause. I needed pain. Because pain makes things real. It strips away the fluff, the illusion, and shows you exactly what you are. You either rise or you rot. It's that simple. But here's the part they never tell you. You can win. No matter how deep you've sunk, no matter how many mistakes you've made, the game isn't over unless you quit. You could have wasted years chasing nonsense, chasing dopamine, chasing comfort, fine. But today's a new day, and if you're breathing, you've still got a shot. The problem is, most men don't want to climb because the climb hurt. They'd rather sit in the mud and complain about the mountain than put one bloody foot in front of the other. I climbed it. Every step sliced me open. Every mistake made me bleed, but I never stopped moving. That's the secret. You outlast the pain, you become immune to the fear. You stop waiting for things to get easier and you become harder. You train your mind to treat suffering like a signal. When it hurts, that's when it counts. That's when the cowards run. That's when champions are made. People love to glorify the success, the cars, the suits, the women, the jet. They don't ask what it cost. They don't want to hear about the betrayal from friends, the nights without sleep, the constant war inside your head telling you to quit. But that's the reality. You want to be exceptional or prepare to be exiled? Prepare to be misunderstood, hated, doubted, even laughed at by people too lazy to do what you're willing to do. But here's the twist. The hate fuels you. The doubt sharpens you. The loneliness strengthens your soul. And when you finally break through, when you finally rise out of the mud with blood on your knuckles and fire in your eyes, those same people will act like they supported you the whole time. Smile at them. Let them clap. You know the truth. You built yourself from ashes. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need luck. What you need is a decision. A final, furious commitment that you will no longer tolerate being a spectator in your own life. That from this moment forward, you will meet every problem head on and punch through it with precision. You'll outwork everyone, not because you're better, but because you've decided you'll never be broken again. That's the power of adversity. It's the fire that forges the man. Every second you survive it, you sharpen your blade. And when the world finally sees you rise, calm, controlled, and completely lethal, they won't believe what you went through. Good. They don't need to. It was never for them. It was for you. Let me tell you something I've never said on camera. Years ago, I sat in my apartment in Luton with an electric bill I couldn't pay and a fridge that sounded emptier than my bank account. I wasn't broke. No, broke is when you have no money. I was bankrupt, spiritually, emotionally, mentally destroyed. Every part of me felt like it was crumbling under the weight of failure. I had dreams, but I was too deep in survival mode to chase any of them. And here's the truth most people will never admit. I didn't have some magical revelation. There was no inspirational music playing, no mentor walked in to rescue me. I was alone, pacing a room with mold on the ceiling, wondering if this was all I'd ever be. You ever stare at your own reflection and feel disgust? Not because of what you look like, but because you know what you could have been if you hadn't betrayed your own potential? That was me. I remember opening my laptop, typing messages to clients, hustling with scraps of belief, fighting for crumbs. I was doing webcam chat with girls, not because I thought it was glamorous, but because it was the only thing between me and starvation. You think I wanted that life? You think I dreamed of begging flaky girls to show up on time so I could eat? But I swallowed my ego. I learned to dominate the situation I hated, not escape it. And that's where real men are born, in moments where pride must die so discipline can live. I worked while others slept. I wrote scripts while my enemies celebrated. I didn't care about honor. I wanted power. I wanted control. I wanted freedom. And I knew none of that was coming unless I created it. I burned through betrayal after betrayal, lost girls I thought would ride with me, got mocked by men who later begged me for advice. But I never lost myself. I kept moving. I kept pushing. I told myself, if the world wants to crush me, it better hit harder than this. And over time, I became sharp, ruthless, precise. I built an empire with no investors, no inheritance, no safety net, just relentless intent and obsessive execution. I turned my name into currency. I turned pain into fuel. And I realized something that changed my entire life. Your story only matters if you survive long enough to finish it. So many people drown in chapter 3 and call it the end. And they never give themselves a chance to rise because they've already written the final sentence in failure. That's weakness. That's emotional cowardice. I decided there would be no retreat, no white flag. I would either win or die swinging. And when I started climbing, when I finally saw daylight after years of darkness, I knew I could never be touched again. Because what can the world take from a man who's already lost everything and kept going? Every scar I carry has become armor. Every lie told about me has become proof that I'm a threat. Every tear I shed alone has built an iron wall around my spirit. People look at me now and think, I was handed this. They don't see the 20-hour workdays. They don't see the nights where I questioned my sanity, the mornings where I could barely stand, the women who left the moment I struggled, the family members who doubted me to my face. All they see is the outcome, but I lived the process. I paid every cost, I made every trade, and I would do it again tomorrow without hesitation. If you're in your darkest chapter, listen to me carefully. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you dangerous. You've been through the fire and you're still breathing. That means you've got a chance to take all this pain and weaponize it. The world is built for those who endure. The crown doesn't go to the soft, it goes to the one who bleeds, limps, grinds, and keeps moving forward when everything screams to quit. If your story hasn't turned yet, it's because you're not finished writing it. And if you have the guts to keep turning the page, you'll find your glory, just like I did. Every second you waste is a betrayal to the man you were supposed to become. You think life's long? You think you've got time to figure it out? No, you don't. You've got less time than you think and more enemies than you realize. There's a clock above your head, and every tick is a slap from the universe, daring you to keep sleeping. You're already behind. Someone out there is hungrier, sharper, angrier, and he's coming for everything you ever dreamed about. And while you scroll, while you procrastinate, while you lie to yourself with tomorrow, he's out there stacking wins, carving muscle, building an empire you'll one day wish you could touch. Life doesn't slow down for the weak. It hunts them. It corners them in comfort, makes them fat with lies, and then rips the opportunity right out of their soft, you ever wonder why you feel empty? If that doesn't scare you, you're fulfilling your purpose. You're lying in bed, numbing yourself with garbage, pretending your soul isn't screaming at you. Every man alive knows when he's failing. You don't need a speech or a therapist to tell you that. You can feel it. You look in the mirror and you see a fraud. You walk into a room and you know deep down, you're not respected because you haven't earned it. And that void you keep trying to fill with distractions will never disappear until you face your own reflection and do something violent about it. Not violent like punching walls. Violent like cutting off every weakness in your life like a surgeon with a blade. Violent like turning down every lie your comfort tells you. Violent like going to war with your own excuses. That kind of violence creates kings. Here's the brutal truth no one else will tell you. Most men will die ordinary. They'll live lives of quiet desperation, pretending they're okay while their dreams rot in the corners of their mind. They'll never build a legacy. Their names will be forgotten before the funeral ends, not because they were cursed, but because they chose soft decisions every single day. They picked the easy route, the safe route, the forgettable route, and in doing so, they killed the potential that once burned inside them. You think that can't be you? You think just because you got ambition, the world owes you results? Let me make it clear. You are not special until you've suffered enough to prove it. Pain is the price of greatness, and most people aren't willing to pay it. Are you? You better start fearing regret more than you fear hard work. Because I promise you, there's nothing worse than being 60, looking back at your life and realizing you let fear rob you of everything. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. All of it is an illusion built by cowards to keep you tame. But that illusion becomes your prison the moment you accept it. You don't need permission to become powerful. You need rage, controlled rage, discipline forged in suffering. You need to get sick of yourself, sick of mediocrity, sick of the lies you keep telling. That's when change begins. Not when you feel inspired, not when it's convenient, when you're so disgusted with your inaction that you burn the old version of yourself alive. Every man gets tested. Every man reaches that crossroad where the pain of staying the same finally outweighs the fear of becoming more. That moment is everything. That's your initiation into the life you were meant to live. But most walk away. They choose numbness, they choose comfort. And in doing so, they bury their future. But if you lean into that fire, if you embrace the torment, if you stare down the agony of change and smile, you become untouchable. You become the kind of man who bends reality to his will, not because it's easy, but because he's the only one willing to pay the damn price. And here's where the hope comes in. You're not dead yet. You haven't lost unless you quit. You haven't failed unless you've surrendered. If you're breathing, you've still got a shot. You can still rise. You can still dominate. But it starts with a decision, a cold, ruthless, final decision to never again betray your own potential. No one's coming to save you. But that's the best news you'll ever hear, because it means everything you want is still within your grasp if you're willing to tear it from the hands of fate and take it for yourself. The moment you think you've done enough is the precise moment you start to decay. Success isn't a trophy you win once and hang on the wall. It's a war you wake up to every single day. You conquer your mind in the morning, you dominate your habits in the afternoon, and you crush your weaknesses before you sleep. There's no off switch. That's the truth no one wants to swallow. You don't arrive at greatness, you grind into it. You claw, bleed, and force your way through every barrier life throws in your path. And even when you're ahead, you keep pushing because you know the moment you relax, someone hungrier will come for your spot. Comfort is the coffin where potential is buried. You can't afford comfort, not now, not ever. You think I wanted to train when my body was broken? You think I felt like working when I had no sleep, when my bank account was empty, when I had every reason to quit? I didn't feel like it, I chose it. That's what separates the strong from the forgotten. The world will give you every excuse to quit. It'll tempt you with distractions, lure you with softness, convince you that you're already good enough. But none of it's real. You know you're not done. You know there's another level. You feel it in your gut when you're alone. You hear the whisper of your potential when the room is quiet. You just ignore it because chasing it means pain. Let me tell you this. Pain is the only proof that you're growing. Every time you suffer for your mission, every time you bleed for your discipline, you are building a man that no force on earth can break. This game is psychological. Weak men collapse before the battle even begins because they never condition their minds to endure discomfort. You have to program yourself to crave the struggle, turn pain into fuel, turn loneliness into focus, turn rejection into armor. The more you are tested, the sharper you become. And if you want to lead, dominate, and rise above the millions sleepwalking through life, you better start appreciating the grind. Because the grind is not punishment, it's purification. It cleans the filth off your soul. It removes weakness like fire melts steel. It creates clarity. When you work so hard that your body wants to quit, but your mind forces it forward, you enter a realm of power most men never touch. That realm, that's where greatness is born. I'm not here to tell you it'll be easy. It won't. You'll lose friends, you'll be misunderstood, you'll be mocked for your ambition, but the ones who mock you are secretly afraid you'll expose their laziness. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. Use every sneer as gasoline, because when your success is undeniable, they'll pretend they always believed in you. That's how it works. The world respects results, not potential. You can have all the dreams in the world, but if you're not executing like a machine every single day, no one will care. You can post quotes, read books, talk about vision boards, but if your actions don't match your words, you're just another noise in a world full of liars. Be different. Be so consistent they can't ignore you. Be so relentless they can't deny you. Be so dangerous that even when you fail, the world fears you'll come back. And don't you dare wait for motivation to show up. Motivation is weak. Discipline is divine. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. Discipline is a commitment you make with yourself when no one's watching, when there's no applause, no likes, no claps, just you versus the life you promised yourself. You don't need inspiration. You need to remember who the hell you are. You're not built for average. You're not here to be a background character in someone else's story. You are the main character, and it's your responsibility to sharpen your body, refine your mind, and expand your empire like your life depends on it, because it does. Here's your hope. If you haven't given up, you're already winning. If you're still standing, still swinging, still dreaming, then you're dangerous. Because the man who refuses to quit is the man who eventually wins. Keep going, keep rising, keep building when no one claps, because eventually the world won't be able to look away. And by then, you'll be so far ahead, they'll need a telescope to even glimpse your shadow. That's your destiny. All you've got to do is earn it again and again and again. Now we're here. You've listened. You've absorbed. Maybe it hit you like a punch to the chest. Maybe it cracked open something inside you that's been buried for years. Something raw, something powerful, something angry. Good. That feeling right now, that's real. That's your soul screaming at you, begging you to stop existing and start living. I'm not here to inspire you for 5 minutes and then disappear from your memory like some motivational meme on Instagram. I'm here to flip a switch inside you that never turns off again. You think this life is a game? Then understand this. Time is your only currency, and you're spending it whether you like it or not. Every second you delay is a second you'll never get back. And one day, whether you're rich or broke, jacked or fat, fulfilled or broken, you're going to die. What you do between now and that moment defines whether your name echoes or vanishes. Decide what you want that legacy to be and act like your life depends on it, because it doesn't. Look around. The world doesn't care if you win. It doesn't care if you rot. There's no referee to stop the fight when you're taking hits. You either stand up and swing back, or you get trampled by people who simply wanted it more. That's how real it is. Every man up there thinks he's special until life kicks him in the teeth. Then he finds out the truth. He's either forged by the fire, or he melts into nothing. There is no middle ground. You want comfort, that's fine, but know this, comfort is rented with interest. The longer you live soft, the more it will cost you in regret, in opportunities missed, in dreams slowly suffocating under the weight of your own weakness. This world owes you nothing, not a single thing. If you want something, take it. Not with whining, not with hope, but with action. Ruthless, disciplined, consistent action. Wake up before the weak. Work when they rest. Outperform them so violently, they start questioning their own purpose. I'm telling you this because I lived it. I've been broke. I've been doubted. I've stared into the abyss with nothing but self-belief keeping me from falling. No one saved me. No miracle came. I saved myself. Day after day, with no applause, no safety net, no guarantee. You want a savior? Look in the mirror. You want change? Then burn the blueprint of your old life and draw a new one in blood. Rewrite every rule that's kept you small. Shatter every excuse you've made. Kill the version of yourself that settled, that waited, that feared, and replace him with a man who doesn't ask for permission. He takes what he's earned, not through entitlement, through sheer, undeniable force of will, through a level of consistency that breaks the weak and crowns the strong. You don't rise by chance. You rise because you made a choice and you backed it with action every single day, no matter how you felt. If you're waiting for the right moment, understand it will never come. There's no perfect time. There's only now, right now, in this very second. You're either getting sharper or duller. You're either building momentum or sliding back into mediocrity. Don't let another sunrise pass without movement. Make the call, hit the gym, start the business, cut the dead weight, read the book, study your craft, earn the distractions, do whatever it takes, because the future doesn't belong to the dreamers. It belongs to the discipline. You think you've got time? That's the greatest lie you've ever believed. You don't know how many tomorrows you've got left. Act like a man who's running out of them, because one day you will. And on that day, the only thing that will matter is whether you built a life worth dying for. Did you conquer your potential, or did you cower behind excuses? So what now? You close this speech and go back to scrolling? You forget everything because it's easier to pretend this fire inside you is just temporary? Or do you rise like a man who's done waiting, done doubting, done living like his existence doesn't matter? You have one shot. One. That's it. And the clock is bleeding seconds while you hesitate. Make the call. Break the cycle. Cut the bullshit. Train like a soldier. Think like a king. Move like a predator. Speak like your words carry weight. Live like every day is the last round of the fight and fight to win. No more waiting, no more hoping, no more weakness. The world isn't going to hand you the life you want. You must take it with discipline, hunger, and the kind of ruthless belief that cannot be broken. The man you could become is waiting on the other side of the pain you're avoiding. Go find him, go become him, or stay exactly where you are and die slowly in silence.